After the eventful result against Newcastle, which saw Liverpool fight back to gain a famous win against the odds, Liverpool and Klopp's attention quickly turns to a home game against Aston Villa this weekend, who, after an impressive week themselves, come into the game with their tails up. Here, we discuss the three decisions that Klopp may need to consider leading up to an important game before the international break. Number 1. Does Darwin Nunes start? After the match-winning performance coming off the bench, is it time for our number 9 to be unleashed? Nunes hasn't started a game this season, even after an impressive pre-season where he appeared to be the main man to lead Liverpool's attacks. Doubt about him being able to play in the Klopp system, his rashness in front of goals, and other players being able to show their qualities have so far stood in Darwin's way. But with Darwin, you write him off out your peril. 2 fantastic goals against one of the best defensive units reminds everyone of how good a player Darwin Nunes is. So is it time for him to come in, relaunch his career and lead Liverpool to more wins and an important victory against Aston Villa? But there are other players that we need to consider in this instance. Cody Gakpo has led the line only in one game so far this season because he has played in midfield for the first 2 games. Cody Gakpo hasn't done anything wrong to be dropped in this game. He still is able to provide instances of magic. You just have to remember against those games against Bayern Munich in the pre-season, but also last season against Manchester United and other teams where he scored vital goals. He's able to drop back, able to support the midfield, able to support other players and bring players in, something that Darwin doesn't quite do. So when we're looking for options against Aston Villa, who have a really good defence, maybe it is time to still kind of persevere with Cody and bring on a Jota or a Darwin later on in the game, just like what we saw against Newcastle, and kind of run it at tired legs. Those are good options available. The other option is Diogo Jota, who, as we all know, just needs one chance to be able to score a goal. We saw that against Bournemouth. Didn't play the best, as probably what he did against Chelsea as well. So again, it is something for Klopp to consider. Do we need just one chance? Is it late on? Are we struggling for goals? Who's your main man? It does look like Jota's going to be that type of player, but also do have Darwin. Something that we do need to consider itself. Number 2. Centre-back choices. With Virgil van Dijk most likely to be suspended after his red card against Newcastle, it does beg the question who would be the key centre-back duo to play against a dangerous Villa team who, again, have been playing really well, scoring lots of goals, and so it may be really interesting who Klopp would decide to play at the centre of defence. The options really are going to be Konate, Matip and Gomez. So out of those 3, who's going to be available? The first player, Konate, if he's fit, he will play. We need his pace. We need the ability to read the game. And he is the leader of this defence, especially when Virgil is going to be out. The other 2 options would be Matip and Gomez. They may not be the forces that they once were, but they reminded a lot of those who doubted them on the weekend of how good they can be. Those one-off games, those one-off performances that we saw against Newcastle, Gomez especially, just reminding how good they can be, and especially considering the pace that Villa's attack have, it might be interesting, maybe crucial to have someone like Joe Gomez who can run back, able to defend, put his body on the line, and it should be something that could be a match-winning performance, something that we'll need to kind of persevere and lead into that international break. I do believe that Quansah is a little bit, it's too early for him to be coming into the team, especially with more mature and more experienced players at the helm available to Klopp. So something that may be considered in cup matches, but it may be too soon for him in a league performance. And finally, number 3, your midfield options. Now, we do know that it's probably going to be McAllister and Szoboszlai, who should be starting for the Villa game. But it might be interesting to think about how much of Szoboszlai's game had been impacted from just running. He's run himself into the ground. He's performed so admirably, and he's just a sensational player. And maybe it's time to think about resting just before that international break, so he does have more time to come in and make an impact later in the game. there are other options that we do need to consider if we are thinking about resting one of those two star men that came into the summer. The other one is Endo. Now, Endo has come into the team at a very, very late moment, has just transferred in and thrown into the starting lineup. And it's admirable that he has tried to apply himself. The game, the pace of the Premier League, the physicality, maybe a bit too much for him right now. And we do need to remember he is a brand new player coming into the league. And so he just needs that little bit of time. And the only way you're going to do that is to play games. So again, a home match, a debut home match against Aston Villa could be the perfect remedy for him to really launch his career in a Liverpool shirt. He isn't the recognised number 6 that we probably were looking for, but he is the only number 6 that we have in the squad at the moment. So it's really, really important that we do get behind him. It is something that Klopp would consider and needs to keep on persevering with. And just to make the team better, he adds a little bit more balance into the team instead of relying on a McAllister being that number 6. Harvey Elliott. Now, he's not number 6, but he could be playing in that number 8, number 10 position and allowing Szoboszlai or McAllister or Endo to play in that number 6. Now, Elliott has been fantastic in his cameos so far this season, bringing energy, creativity. You look at the chance that he created for Darwin in the Newcastle game. He just took a better touch from Darwin and he was in, and that's something that possibly no other player so far has shown in the Liverpool midfield. So it isn't going to be interesting if Harvey is to start this game, allowing for other players to be rested. And again, Harvey does know the system a lot better than possibly what McAllister does just right now. So it would be a good move for Harvey to start the game. And if we do need that little bit more reassurance, McAllister can come on, or Szoboszlai later on in the game if we are chasing a result itself. Now, we do need to remind ourselves that other players that do make up that midfield, Thiago, Bajcetic and Jones, unfortunately, they are a little bit too... it's too soon for them to return into the starting lineup against a really strong Aston Villa side. They're coming back from injury. It could be too soon as well. So there are other players that we do need to consider and remind ourselves that we do have at our disposal, but we'll just be mindful that they are just returning from injury. Each of Thiago, Bajcetic and Jones have only just returned to the training pitch this week. And so it would be too soon for them to make it an immediate start against this dangerous Aston Villa side. But they are something of a consideration to bring off the bench and have in the squad. So just to add that little bit more experience itself. So those are the 3 options, 3 decisions, key decisions that Klopp needs to make before the Aston Villa game. There will be other things to consider. Would Liverpool like to appeal Virgil's red card? Is it something that would gain traction? If it is, then that could help that centre-back number 2 decision that we spoke about. And there's other things. Would there be more transfers to come in before the end of the week? So those are the 3 key decisions that Klopp needs to make before the Aston Villa game. So please remember, like and subscribe to the LFC Transfer Room as we bring you more content. There's 7:30 streams every night, UK time. There's going to be watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and more content coming your way. I'd like to thank you for watching this video.